This is the Tree Advisory Committee meeting for March 14th, and we're calling it to order at 4:01. I think we need to call to order, don't we?
I'll make a motion.
Thank you. I second it. All in favor say aye.
Approving the,
We're calling to order in the meeting.
I don't think you have to have a motion for that.
You got it. All in
You do?
favor? Yep.
Okay.
Aye.
All right. All right, and we have a quorum. So the first thing on the agenda is approval of the minutes from February 8th.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from February.
Second, I'll second it, even though I wasn't there.
Okay. Any edits or discussion? Okay. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right, so the minutes from
Aye.
Oh, thank you. Minutes from February 8th, 2004 meeting is approved. All right, there is no one here for public appearances. Scott Endel is here tonight, which is wonderful. All right, agenda review. Are there any recommended changes to the order of the agenda?
I'm good.
Okay. Looks good. We have a motion to approve the agenda as is.
I move we approve the agenda.
I'll second.
All right, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay. So the first item on our agenda tonight is the Parks and Open Space Plan. And
77
so
pages.
Scott, shall we start with you or Anna?
Here she comes.
Very, very good. Shall I go ahead,
Yeah.
Linda?
Yes, please.
Well, first off, I certainly wanted to take this opportunity to thank the Tree Advisory Committee for all of their work over the last several months here. You know, as a member of the Park Rec and Forestry team, I certainly wanted to thank this group for all of their work on the forestry division of the team. I am Scott, and I'm the Park Rec and Forestry Director, and actually what we're doing is we're updating our Park and Open Space Plan, which is a 5-year plan, and actually this is going to be an update. It was last done for 2015 to 2020. So this is going to be the update for 2024 to 2028. And what I'm doing is I'm actually going around to all the different committees, and I'm really using it as an opportunity to promote the Park and Rec Department and all the things that the Park Rec and Forestry Department does for the community. And it really was kind of an interesting exercise for me, because what I did is I went back and looked at the department in 2015 and then where we are in 2024, just to kind of get a reference of how we've done and how we've grown. We will talk about the plan, and actually the plan has 3 different sections. It has an executive summary, which is kind of a summary or kind of a synopsis of the whole plan. Then in the middle of the plan is all the different amenities, all the different parks, all the different amenities that they have in the park. And then what we'll talk about specifically is at the end, which is the action items of the plan. But before we do that, I did hand out a couple items, and what I'll do, Craig, is I'll get a copy of this information to you. The folks that are here, they'll have a paper copy, so I'll get you an electronic one. But the first piece of information is I do a host report, which is the gray piece of paper, and it kind of is a summary of the staffing that we have. In the middle is the budget information, and then at the bottom is kind of a summary of all the different park information. And what I did, and actually if you look on the reverse side, That's the 2015 report, a host report. So what I did, if you turn back over to 2024, in comparison to 2024 in the staffing area, which includes the director and the rec department and Anna and all the park maintenance crew, in 2024 we have 11.75 full-time equivalents. And that is in comparison to 10.25 that we had in 2015. No, so that was kind of interesting for me. In the budget information, you can kind of see at the, as far as the 2024 budget for both park, rec, and forestry, it's almost $2 million. And if you look back in 2015, it was a little bit over $1 million for the budget. So that has really grown. And one interesting thing too on that top page is, if you notice a little bit further to the right is a revenue that's generated. And revenue that's generated with our department is through recreational fees, when people participate in programs, park shelter rentals.
So I'm sorry, you're looking at the 2024?
Yep.
Okay.
And it's kind of in the middle, and you can kind of see to the right the revenue, which the department, in 2023, the department brought in $269,925. And that actually is in comparison to $200,210, which it was for 2015. But that's rec fees, diamond shelter rental, or diamond fees, all of those. And then if you kind of go up to the top, 2019, the number was $259,944. But then if you look at 2020, you know what happened in 2020. That's when COVID hit. But then what is really interesting that in 2023, now we're back to pre-COVID numbers and a little bit above. So that's pretty interesting. Also, trees planted. Anna was able to get 401 trees planted in 2023. And then if you look at the general park information, it says 788 acres. But if you reverse it on the other side, in 2015, we had 507 acres. So it's really grown. And at the bottom.
And that is, what, is that parks or is that medians and so forth
Well,
too?
that's total park space,
Park.
right? So medians, woodlots, natural areas, the whole
Everything.
the whole thing. And maybe just another bit of reference is we have small gazebos in the parks. We have 15 of them. Tennis courts, we have 14. Pickleball courts, we have 8. Large shelters, we have 12, which I think 8 of them have bathrooms, and those are the ones that are reserved. Ball fields, we have 13. Basketball hoops, half courts, we have 22. We have 6 full court hoops in the system, and 40 playgrounds. 40 playground modules within the park system. And what on the bottom of 2024, I've added as far as amenities, we have a dog park now in comparison to 2015. We have an inclusive playground. We have disc golf, which is actually part of our golf course at 9 Springs. We've got 8 pickleball courts. And now we have 30 miles of trails in comparison to 20 that we had back in 2015. And I just wanted to kind of share that and that's what I'll do is I'll go around to all the groups and kind of share that. The other bit of information is on the brown sheet, and that's our parkland dedication ordinances. When a development comes into the community, what they have to do is they have to donate to us 2,900 square feet of land per dwelling unit and that's going to end up creating their park. They also have to provide us park improvement fees, which will go to purchasing the playground equipment and whatever amenities that we're going to place in that park. And then we do have an option that if they're If they don't have enough land to donate, they can donate fee in lieu of parkland dedication. So that's at about 60, so if a development comes in and they're deficient in their parkland dedication, then they need to pay us $65,000 per every acre that they're deficient. And then those park improvement fees and park fee in lieu of parkland dedication are utilized to develop the park originally. The trouble that we have, or that we're running into now, is that when the parks become 25 years old and the stuff needs to be replaced or painted or all of those kinds of things, park improvement fees cannot pay for that. That's got to come out of the operating budget, which is the taxes. So that's the tough part where we're at. And case in point, I did bring along current parks that we're working on, the hub, which is the first one. If you look at that, and then if you turn over to the other side, this is about almost a $5 million park. But this park is going to be built with fees in lieu of parkland dedication and park improvement fees. Then the second one I've got there is the Stoner Prairie Park, and I want you to notice on that second one is what we're beginning to start to do is, instead of grass, we're doing prairies and those kinds of amenities. So that's kind of indicated on the Stoner Prairie Park plan. And then the last one is in Terra Vesta. That's our Egg Park, which is a new park. And on the front page of the Terra Vesta one, you can kind of see the white dashed area. And then if you turn it over, then it's a more of a bigger look at that dashed in area to kind of give you an idea of what we're looking to do in that park. So that's kind of a little bit of a host report, what we're working on. But then getting back to the park plan, like I say, the park plan is really our planning document. It provides a lot of different action items and goals. And the thing is, with these action items, for example, one of them in there relates to park improvement fees and parkland dedication fees. And we're looking to take a re-look at those, so that those details of that re-look, if you would, are not in the plan. The plan kind of directs that action, and then we'll work on that individually. Same thing with, there's a 30% tree canopy goal in the plan. So that's kind of our direction, and then when we get new parks and all of those kinds of things, we're trying to reach that 30% canopy goal. And if I might, I do want to read, this is our action item framework. Recreation in public spaces can take many different forms. Conventional forms include basketball, volleyball courts, baseball, softball diamonds, play equipment, and natural activities such as walking and hiking. These conventional forms will always have a place in public space. This section of the plan looks beyond these conventional forms and looks at recreation and on public spaces through a different framework. We call it the 3 S's. That all the parks should be sociable. And if you think of parks, it's sociable, you think of people, right? And people gather at the parks, which is really, an intangible kind of benefit of the park system. It provides social gathering opportunities. It also provides solitude. It could be a trail that goes through a wooded area or whatever it might be. So there's a solitude value that's created within the park system. And then the last S is scenes, which if you can think of trails that connect all of these different locations. So parks are sociable, a place to gather. They provide solitude, and then we really try to connect within the park, but then have those parks be connected to other parks through trails. Our vision, well, and that kind of is the same, kind of relates to the 3 S's, but then if you look at the goals, and the one that I kind of identified, I'm kind of identifying the specific goals that might be pertinent to the groups that I speak to. So goal 2 is Fitchburg natural, cultural, and historical resources. I picked that one as one for the tree advisory committee, that's one of the goals that you work on, protecting the natural makeup of the community. Here's the big one, goal number 4, integrate Fitchburg Park open space, rec lands, citywide trail systems, stormwater management systems. And really what we want to try and do is they certainly have a function within the parks, but we want to make them a little bit more than that. It's like an attraction or those kinds of things. But tree canopy is in that goal, and environmentally sensitive area system. So it really kind of calls out the specific work that the tree advisory committee works on. In that, well, in actually what they kind of spell out in an action item number 13, we're continue to manage and maintain the system in a manner so as to provide identity for the city, expands the use profile of the system, and encourage optimal and efficient land use. So that, kind of ties into to the tree advisory committee. And then actually the last one is maintain adequate levels of volunteer, it says maintain adequate levels of city financial resources and explore opportunities for non-city financial resources. And that's where, there's a lot of volunteer work that kind of comes out of the work of the tree advisory committee.
And a lot of grant writing that Anna does too.
Well, and we need to try and figure out how to thread that needle of how do we maintain the parks after that 20 or 25 years when we need to, pick up our, tennis courts and all of these
And
kinds of.
basketball courts too.
Because
I mean, we're trying to figure that out.
So
That
there's
last
no
time.
budget item in there right now, in the city budget for.
We actually do have, in CIP 6259, there is, but that's for like playgrounds and those kinds of things, but we've got, thankfully, we were able to renovate the Tower Hill Park Shelter, which was built in 1973, but the only reason we were able to do that is because of the ARPA TID funding that we received. There was a TID closure along with some ARPA funding. So we were able to use those dollars to do that along with McKee Farms Park. We're redoing the tennis courts at about $1 million to redo that, but that's coming from the ARPA TID dollars that we were afforded. But you've got tennis courts and you've got all these other things that are bigger ticket items. Actually, what they did which is a good strategy with the McGaw Park pickleball and then the tennis courts at McKee, they've got to pay for it up front, but then we're putting like $20,000 or $25,000 away for a year. So in 50 years, when it needs to be redone, there's going to be that source of dollars there. So that's kind of the strategy that we're using with the pickleball courts and the tennis courts. But the thing is you gotta fix the tennis courts, but then the strategy of allocating dollars periodically on an annual basis to pay for them when they need to be repaired. And I would be remiss, I'm sorry, that Brad Sipple and Deanna Schmidt in the planning department, they're really, my planning arm, so they really did a lot of work in helping us put this plan together. It does.
And you and Anna both, was Anna involved with the
Oh,
plan?
yeah, right. And what we did is we pass it around internally and said, hey, what can we add? All of those kinds of things. And what was I gonna say too? I lost it now.
Well, and Linda, to that point, we got feedback from Tree Advisory, was it in October,
Yep.
I think?
Yep.
And then I passed it on to Brad and he incorporated that into the current document.
Yes, thank you.
And
Yes.
actually, I went to the RCC and they had a good idea because there's a portion in here for solar. But then there's a geotechnical person on that committee, and he says what they're seeing is that folks are renting city parkland for geothermal fields.
It's
So,
not always compatible.
well,
I mean, it's so interesting because sustainability involves so many different factors, but sometimes they cancel each other out. I mean, so figuring out how to,
well, and that's kind of the beauty of it is you can include it in the plan as kind of an action item, and then we could do a little research and maybe that's one way to kind of thread that needle to try to generate some additional dollars. I don't know, but he just brought it up, but I think that's an awful interesting idea.
you just have to be careful that it's not, that we don't sacrifice like our environmental corridors or, our canopy or, well, it wouldn't be canopy.
And we've got a lot of green space, parkland, that's just green space. And, is that compatible? Can you still do activities over it and those kinds of things, so.
Yeah.
So, and then, like I say, what we'll do is gather up all the feedback and things that we've received from the different committees, and then we'll take a look at them and see if we can't get them included in the plan, and then eventually get it.
Where is the plan in the legal process? When does it go back to the council?
It'll go back to the council April 23rd. And I know what I wanted to say, is that this document maintains our eligibility to participate in grant programs, state and federal grant programs.
I know Anna writes a lot of grants.
Yeah.
She does a great job with that. That helps a lot. So do we need to approve the plan today? I have a couple questions.
You can, you looked at it, you could provide some amendments or suggestions. And if you wanted to approve it with these couple things, that'd be fine.
Yeah. And I know, as Anna said, we have had a chance to give input and
yeah.
before, but I had a couple questions.
Sure.
Is about the plan. If now is the time to ask, I don't know.
Please.
So I see that they have the categories of signature parks with different themes for each one. And one's nature. And I see that McGaw is not in there, and I'm thinking that maybe, well, I'm wondering if that should be in there. And then along with the McGaw topic, I'm wondering if that's also in terms, I think it would be an action item, that's not a plan that's not finished. That would be, because there's sites that haven't been restored yet. And I know right now there's a resolution that puts it on hold, but I would think that would be a goal.
Well, and I think the way that goal is expressed in the plan is that we want to work to remove invasives and invasive items within our woodlots. So that's really how it's included in the plan, that it's a goal, that's one of the goals, that we want to make our woodlots healthy.
So what caught my interest, maybe I misinterpreted it, was there was just a list of kind of prioritizing areas for attention, and that incomplete projects was one of those categories.
Incomplete project.
Towards the end of the.
I don't know what you're.
Anna, do you know what I mean?
I think what you're referring to is it the general and specific maintenance plans, Linda? Is that what you're talking about? And the specific maintenance plans never got done?
Well,
Is that what you're talking about? Or?
I'm asking why that's not in this document.
Oh, why those things got taken out?
If it was in there and taken out, yes, that would be my question.
I think because so McGaw specifically, I think the issue with that is it needs to be referenced in the park and open space plan, which I think it is. It needs to be referenced that we have this plan. And then in terms of like getting things accomplished there, we would need that,
Yes.
should be in our park specific maintenance plans. And that document never got finished. That got started in, I think, 2004 or something like that. And that's why I put it on this agenda, because I kind of thought this might come up. And so the way to address that is not through the park and open space plan as much as to get the general and specific park maintenance plans accomplished. or finished and approved, and I think that is an action item in this plan, if I'm not mistaken. Does that make sense?
So that plan is by reference in the park and open space plan. That it's not specifically, that specific plan is not included in it. It's by reference, it's included in the park and open space plan.
Yeah, and the document that would have it again would be that specific parks maintenance plan document that never got, that's just not that helpful.
So that needs to be gone over and then reapproved, and then it's,
Right, and that is on our agenda for today to talk about again about a resolution to take
Yeah.
off hold. So then going back to the first question, should McGaw be under the nature of
we
the,
have, there's the parks, the specific parks might have a couple different functions.
Mhm.
I think, McGaw
Yes.
Park is listed under nature, right? And then also sports.
It's under sports.
yeah, it's not
Yeah.
in nature, I don't think. I think, what is it? There's at least one park that's mentioned a couple of times, including under nature, but McGaw is not in that category right now, I think. Under nature, is it?
Under nature,
Good.
what's that?
What is not there? Yeah.
It's McCoy, West Clayton Road, McGaw Park, and Valley Conservancy.
Oh, good, so it's all under one category? Okay, under, oh,
Sure,
you're-
there it is.
that's-
And then, like I say,
okay,
McGaw has a couple
all right,
different,
great, thank you.
couple different functions.
All right, I'm sorry, thank you.
You're welcome. So that,
I was trying to go through this document and everything, and it's so hard to do it on the computer.
Yeah.
And then, anyway, so I
well, I mean,
apologize.
these documents are fluid, they're a working document, so we can certainly update them and those.
It has some wonderful language in it in regards to tree preservation, maintenance, plantings, and sustainability. It's really
That's
helpful
our-
work, thank you. It's
Our
really-
planning department, yeah, you're welcome, you're welcome.
I have a concern that may be irrelevant and kind of selfish. I like to jog, and as I get older, I prefer not to jog on pavement. And I'm wondering if you give any thought when I notice there's some walking trails. Would those trails also be good for jogging? And for jogging, we really don't want to see roots and rocks and things that you might stumble on.
Right.
Of course, the ideal thing would be is if there were a jogging track, but that would probably be expensive and it would be a maintenance issue.
Well, and I think certainly you bring up a good point, and our woodlots tend to be the trails that are chipped. But to your point, the idea of making sure that they're free of, because basically what we do is we go in and we'll take out the honeysuckle and then what's left. So the idea of making sure that that trip hazard is not in there. I don't know, Nine Springs Golf Course, I don't know.
Oh, is the public allowed in there?
That's a park, yeah. Yeah, so
Oh,
that,
okay, well, that's pretty near my house.
yeah, you could run around there.
Okay, I didn't know that I was allowed in there.
No, that's a public park. You certainly want to be careful of flying golf balls and
Yeah.
flying discs, but no, that's park space.
Oh, well, that's good to know, thank you.
Well, and McKee Farms Park, you just, instead of doing it on the pavement, just go off the pavement a little bit, because I understand
I
that's
was thinking
hard.
about that, but
Yeah.
then, if people do that, they're gonna wear a trail into the grass.
that's what parks are for. I
All right,
would
well,
not
maybe
worry
I could
about,
do
I'd
that,
not
too.
worry about that. And even, the athletic fields, just jogging around, because I understand, I'm kind of in the same, I don't like running on pavement all the time,
Right.
just to do it on, you could do that in any park, big park, and just kind of run around, they're all open.
Yeah, grass tends to be wet, so I don't
Yeah,
want to jog on it, but sometimes.
Certainly a softer run for you on grass.
Oh, yeah, it's a
Right.
good service. Thanks.
And if you come up with any other thoughts or ideas, don't hesitate, send me an email, and that's my presentation for today.
Anna, was there anything else we wanted to discuss right now?
I don't think so. I just want to echo that, I really appreciate all Brad's work with this. After we had talked about this, and I believe it was at our October meeting, I brought some issues, or I don't say issues, but just a few things to him, and I thought he did a very nice job of incorporating it into the plan, and I really appreciate that, and I think it's actually a very nice document we can work with moving forward.
Okay,
So, do we want to make a motion to approve it then?
We don't need to.
Yeah,
that'd
is
be
it
okay.
required? In order to, is
Well,
that,
it really, I think
It seems like more of a recommendation than an approval.
Yeah, recommendation,
Am I right?
and then any amendments that you might recommend, then we can put that on the referral sheet, and that's what I'm actually doing, is then
right,
we'll gather all of those and see how we can, put the comments into the plan before it gets to the final stages. And even text in one of those goals, if you wanted to be clearer on the text or more definitive on the text that might be in some of the goals, that's another option to
well, I
improve.
think when I was reading, every time I would think of something, then I would find an answer to it in another part of the plan. So,
Well, it sounds like it's pretty well written then, pretty tight.
Yeah.
Which is good. All right,
right.
well, I thank you for your time. No, you can.
thank you, Scott.
Oh,
Thank you very much.
too much paper. I know you'll be able to use them with more
I'll give
committees
it-
and
I'll give it
groups.
to more people. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you,
Have a
Scott.
good night.
Thanks,
All right,
Scott.
Yes.
That'll work.
thank you.
Likewise. Have a good night, you guys.
All right, bye-bye. All right, anything else on this topic before we move to the next one?
No.
All right, general and specific parks maintenance plans.
All right. Well, thank you for putting this, or thank you for, being willing to talk about this. I guess the reason I wanted to bring this up on the agenda is because of the lack. So the Park and Open Space Plan operates at a higher level, and these specific maintenance plans, the general and the specific maintenance plans, are supposed to be what guides, the folks doing the work on how to basically implement the goals of the Park and Open Space Plan. And neither of these documents have been updated in a long time. One of them, the specific maintenance plan, was never finished, and it's from, I think, 2004, so it's really old. And if you look at that specific maintenance plan document, it's like 40-some pages. 40 pages of it is just like talking about different things. And then when you look to specific park maintenance plans, they're not there because it never got finished. So I just wanted to bring this up in a just a way to remind folks that we need to get this done. And the first step is, as part of that IRA grant, I wrote into that IRA grant park plans for all the parks that are in the area eligible for IRA, or not. Yes, for IRA funding. So we'll get started with it hopefully soon through that grant process. And we just need to keep working at it. And anyway, because I know there's a lot of frustration about certain things not happening, specific to McGaw Park, but there's been other parks that have been brought up where things aren't happening, and it's because we don't really have those maintenance plans in place. And so that's what these documents are supposed to do. I hope that makes sense.
So are you talking about, so I spent all my time looking at the other one. Are you talking about the general maintenance plan for public properties, the 2009?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, and then there's there's two of them. There's this general plan where things are like, long grass areas get mowed every 6 months and burned every 3 years or whatever. But the problem with that plan is it assumes there aren't noxious weeds. It assumes that they're in good shape. And that's not the case. Like most of our parks, we get them and they're overrun with invasives. So we don't get it in the maintainable shape. And then we get park improvement fees. We can kind of work on some things, but we never get to the level of maintenance that plan implies. So and to be honest, like I think we should have like, community parks get a certain level of maintenance, area parks get this level of maintenance, neighborhood parks get a different level of maintenance, because the way the way that is worded, you don't even really know what people are referring to. So anyway, that's one thing that I would suggest.
So the plan that Scott was here to discuss, that's the more general plan for the parks. This
Yes,
is
that's the overview,
maintenance
yes.
of the property, is that correct? So
Right, and
this should include like all the tree maintenance as well, is that correct?
Yeah.
The pruning,
yes, yes.
and I mean, I know we have the hole in the budget right now for care for newly planted trees, but that's where those kinds of things would go.
Exactly, right. And we don't really have, I think part of the reason we don't, it's hard for us to garner support for these things is we don't have any plans for them. We don't have documents we can point to that says, hey, we're supposed to be doing this, this, and this. We're not getting it done. We need more resources or whatever. We need to write grants or whatever it happens to be. So we really do need to get these documents up to date as well. And it's not that big of a lift. We just need to do it. And for me, the first start is getting writing these plans for the parks in the disadvantaged neighborhoods in that IRA grant. So I've put that in there. Hopefully it'll get funded and we can actually start this process.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
So is this document being worked on now? Are you saying that the first step is writing the grant and trying to get extra resources to redo this?
Yeah, I would say yes. Yeah.
And what is the grant again?
So
the whole thing?
So the grant is the Inflation Reduction Act grant, and I'm almost done with it. I'm writing it now. It's due in June. We should know if we get the money, I think yet this year, and we can start right away. And it's no match, and it's up to $500,000, which we are not going to ask for that big of a project. But so there's a fair bit, and the DNR is $4 million, so that's a fair bit of money to grant out. So anyway, so I just wanted to put these on the agenda just to make people aware of, even though these specific maintenance issues are not in the Park and Open Space Plan, they're supposed to be in these documents, and these documents, aren't what they should be. And that's kind of why sometimes with park maintenance issues, we don't really have a good a way of dealing with specific issues.
Okay.
McGaw Park being one.
I have a question, and I don't know if it's related to any of this, but we were out with friends and we were talking about, for example, Mickelson Woods is full of invasives, and I personally would like to see that cleaned out. And the people we were with says, why? Why do we have to, what's the benefit of that? And, to have the open woods. And I should know the answer, and I just said, well, the invasives are bad and they should be gone. And I need a better response. Why is it better to clear out all the bad things and open up the woods, which sometimes the neighbors don't like?
Yeah, the neighbors don't like it, but especially there. But it's because those invasive shrubs are outcompeting our native plants.
Okay.
And they are outcompeting, and they're taking up growing space that then our native plants don't have.
Okay.
And they take up space. And oak trees need sunlight to regenerate.
Mm-hmm.
They block all the sunlight getting to the forest floor. There's no forest regeneration that can happen at all if you have an invasive shrub cover.
Okay.
So like if you take off the honeysuckle, there's not going to probably be anything growing under it.
Okay.
So that's why.
Okay, thank you.
It also doesn't
Yes, no
hold
problem.
wildlife in the same way that.
Yeah, because the native wildlife.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay, good, thank you.
Well, I hope I didn't cause confusion here by putting these on the agenda. I just wanted to put them on because I knew that there were questions about, some specific park maintenance questions as part of the Park and Open Space Plan. I just want to let people know, that, hey, Park and Open Space Plan is a higher order plan, and these more specific plans are, just not, they're just not functional because they never got finished and they're quite old. So, anyway, are there any other questions? All right, I think I've probably talked enough about that. Are we ready to talk about Arbor Day?
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, awesome. So we did get the Tree City of the World designation. So thank everyone. I wanted to thank everyone for their work on that. So we are going to have an Arbor Day flag raising, and we're going to have a tree planting on the 26th at City Hall at 10:30 in the morning. There's going to be a classroom of kids that are going to come and plant a tree with the mayor. So, and we'll raise the flag and do the proclamation. So if folks, I know it's a Friday, so people may be working, but at 10:30 on that day is when we're going to have the mayor planting the tree with the kids. If anyone wants to come, that would be awesome. And we're going to basically put up the Tree Cities of the World flag, which I'm really looking forward to. The other Arbor Day activities are at Rose Common Park on the 26th. We're going to be planting trees, which will be really exciting. We since we got a Light Energy Million Trees grant, so we're going to be putting in additional trees in addition to what the neighborhood paid for. So that'll be a pretty big project. That will kind of transform that park and bring a lot more canopy and more shrubs to it, which will be great. And then I did want to tell people on the 12th, which is a Friday, April 12th, we are working from 9 in the morning till 3 in the afternoon with 2 different sets of volunteers. We're working in McGaw. We are transplanting oak trees. We're removing some resprouts of invasive shrubs, and we're planting native shrubs. And the idea there is to kind of make that area, as you drive in the driveway there on the right, the area we call the triangle, it's between McGaw Park and the crossings, kind of make that a little bit of a showcase of what that park could be. So we're going to get hopefully a lot of work done with a volunteer group from the DNR and a volunteer group from the Sierra Club. So that should be, I'm hoping, I need to take before and after pictures just so we have some good visuals, but that should be a good project of what we can do. That's going to be done with volunteers. It will be paid for with this Million Trees grant award. So it'll be a nice way to say like, hey, this did not cost really a whole lot of operating budget, and look what we can do kind of thing. So hopefully that will be a success story in McGaw Park. And that's what we have on the calendar so far. So if you're interested, please come out. If you can't make it, totally understandable.
Yeah, that's exciting.
Any questions?
I got a quick question. For
Sure.
the Arbor Day, when you said with the classic kids, do you know what school is it?
Yep.
Stoner Prairie?
No, it's the Woods Hollow Children's Center.
Oh, okay.
So it's going to be pre-K kids coming, which I think is going to be kind of fun.
Well, that'll be fun.
They're going to walk over. But yeah, it'll be great.
Yeah.
I would love to work with Stoner Prairie in the future. It's it can be kind of a hard nut to crack to work with those schools, but I would like to do that. So that might be a good thing to try and do next year.
Yeah.
I can be there for that.
Awesome, Linda. That would be awesome. Any other questions or comments about our Arbor Day plans?
No, I'm just so impressed at how much it's grown over the years. I mean, this is great. Really impactful
Yeah.
action.
Yeah, thank you. I'm really grateful that everyone is so interested to do these kinds of things. So, questions about the Arbor Day. Maybe we should move on to electing a vice or deputy chair, whichever one you want to call it.
Right. So I'm not going to be here in April. So my understanding is that we should elect a deputy chair who can take over chair the meeting when I'm not here. So, do you want to make a?
Sure, I nominate Craig.
We already talked to Craig.
You have
so.
to second
I'll
it.
second
Somebody
it.
has to second.
I'll second.
Thank you.
Craig, are you okay with that?
Are you awake?
Yeah, I'll accept the nomination. Thank you, Sue.
Okay, good. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you.
Can you
Is,
remind me who seconded that?
Shannon?
Oh, thank you.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
you're not here in April, I'm not here in April either. Will we have enough people to have a meeting? Yeah, we still,
If everyone else comes.
if everyone else comes.
Everybody else shows up.
Well,
when is it? Is it the first Thursday or is it the second Thursday?
Second usually. Isn't it
I
the
got
second
it.
Thursday?
It's the
Won't be here.
Okay.
But they may have somebody, I'm sure they probably tell
We'll
them
have
to
a
be
new
here.
alder
I don't
and-
know. Yeah, you will.
But they don't usually start till, do they start usually? Well, who knows?
Like,
I don't know.
first week I will be here. The second week,
Yeah, it's.
Okay.
oh yeah, I might still be here. Yeah.
So on
I don't,
Tuesday.
I just know, like, after my Tuesday meeting, I don't know when my duties go to. I'm assuming they go to the last, the
Oh, the end of your
week.
term?
Through April.
Yeah, so the election's whatever, the 4th?
Second.
Second? So, and then there's like
Transition.
2 weeks in between before the new holders come in, take their chair,
So that's to the 16th then?
somewhere around there. But I don't think it's till their next meeting, which is the fourth Tuesday of the month.
That's what
So
it
it's
sounds
just
like,
short of
so,
Yeah.
so probably
Yeah,
May,
so-
everybody, new people will be in May probably on
Okay.
But, so then you would or wouldn't be attending?
I'll be here if I'm still supposed to be here.
Thank
I'm
you.
gonna find out.
Okay,
But,
thank you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Otherwise, I'm sure they'll have the other Albert.
The tree advisory committee is April 11th.
So it's the second. I think I'm
So
still,
that should be.
I think so.
I think I'm
too.
still
think it's
here.
through April, I think that, yeah,
That's
Yeah.
within the 2
because,
weeks.
because I remember you saying that that's the month when they do the training, right? That we had talked about last time for Robert's Rules of Order.
yeah.
Okay,
Oh,
good,
I won't
thank
be
you.
here, I won't be here.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
All right, so 3 people won't be here for certain.
Yeah, but I think,
Well, can we talk, somebody
I
said
think you can have like maybe 2 or 3.
we'd have to have, how
Yep,
many?
Right.
that's 3.
You can have the meeting, but just not vote.
Yeah, you couldn't make and do any business. You couldn't do any official
Well, you can
business.
still vote.
You know, like, there were 3 things
I mean,
here
but
that
I
you
wouldn't put
voted.
anything on there that you,
Right.
potentially that I think you need.
Is there a time we could just
Everybody's-
reschedule to that would work better for people?
Yeah, that's a good thought. I mean, we could reschedule the meeting too.
Somebody said something about skipping April, did you, Linda?
Oh, well, let's see, let me just look at my calendar.
I'm pretty much gone the
Maybe
whole
I'm messing up, maybe I'm here,
So,
maybe it's May, I'm not gonna be here, so let me just, I hate making 2 big mistakes in one meeting, but I could.
you didn't make,
It's possible.
what one did you make already? We didn't know.
Where are you going?
All right, let me see, okay.
Sicily.
Oh, okay. All right, I'm not having it, so okay, all right, I should be able to do April, I can't do May,
Okay,
let me just see.
okay.
Right.
Okay, so
So
maybe
I
we'll-
will be here in April, it's May that I'm not gonna be here.
Okay.
2
Okay.
mistakes
Okay.
in one meeting, yeah. How does your May look, Craig? Do you know? It's the 9th of May.
There you go.
I was just looking up the calendar. So unclear. I've got my final law school final that day.
Mm.
oh my God.
But
Earlier
I
in
do
the
not
day,
remember when it is.
on Wednesday?
Thursday.
I'm not sure when it is on Wednesday. I will have to look and see.
Yeah, it's Thursday.
It's the 9th is Thursday, yeah.
Yeah, I've got the night down. So I do not know. I
Okay,
apologize for that uncertainty, but I will have to
That's no problem. I think, if we're gonna miss a meeting, May wouldn't be a bad one to miss to reschedule.
Okay,
In
sounds
April,
good.
we will be voting on, April, we will be voting, tree planting and a few other things, so,
Okay, so
but
April,
it may
okay.
be that meeting.
So if something like that happened, or we didn't have a quorum, and, we thought we couldn't meet, and we can change it then? Can we change it? As long as we
Yeah.
stay with the second Thursday of the month?
We could make it a
Well,
different.
we can schedule it if we need to. We just, if
Make
we
sure
post
we have-
it
we also have to make sure we have, like, they can get us in that,
Right.
that we have
Yes.
a room that we can
Okay.
have. I think that would probably be the
Alright.
only,
So we can talk about this again in
Issue.
April, because there shouldn't be a problem with us doing business in April. And I might not be able to be here in person in April, but I can be here, if not, I can be here virtually, so. Okay. I think we're done with that. All right, so the next item is the McGaw Park Resolution update. All right, so, we've had another communication with Valerie. Craig, do you want to talk about that?
Yeah, I was a little confused by this. I thought we got almost the exact opposite message from the mayor that we got from Valerie. But the latest from Valerie is we either need Julia or 2 alders to sponsor a resolution, or like to recommend looking into a resolution, and then Julia would either direct a staff member to draft it, and then it would go around the committees, or potentially somebody else would draft it, but it seems like the staff member would be the best. I think it makes more sense to pursue getting alders on board. Not that I don't think Julia would be willing to, but
She would prefer the
I think it
alders.
might just be.
yeah.
Yeah, and I think that has a better look to it as well, and creates a better political atmosphere of, this is 2 alders who are bringing it forward, not the mayor's kind of pushing it down. I'm not sure that really applies, but I think it's the way it would be perceived. So I think our next steps might be to speak with a couple maybe alders for some of our areas to see if we can get a couple to support it.
So let's,
I'm not quite sure on the mechanics on what happens after that, but
what do you recommend we do? So we'd like to get it done as soon as possible. And
Okay,
it looks like it's a fairly simple, straightforward resolution.
Okay.
Because all of the ordinances and the city comprehensive plan all support, maintaining, these areas and, getting rid of invasives. So, I mean, the support for it is already in the ordinance. It was just, this was very specific.
and that was, this was, am I correct, this was the one for over here in
McGaw,
McGaw,
right.
because of the
Neighbors.
buckthorn, and the neighbors didn't want to
Right.
get it done.
Right.
Yeah.
So it was a minimum of 5 years, and it's past that now. But Valerie said we have to have another resolution in
Okay.
order to move ahead with it.
So it's,
So the
I honestly think if you could get a couple of the alders to be on board with it,
Yes,
I think it would be a really good idea.
right.
Because in order to pass the resolution, you need, I mean,
And
the
it doesn't
mayor
make
would
sense
be
for
fine,
you
she's
to-
great at like supporting,
Right.
but I mean, unless it's a tie,
yeah,
she really doesn't,
so this is to take that hold away from
Right.
McGaw,
Those
so
5
they
site
can work
areas.
in there again,
Right.
right?
Yep.
Okay.
So we have to have a resolution to remove it or end it?
yeah, it's basically a resolution to undo the past resolution
Which is very short and very.
is the goal.
These areas will not be touched for. Restored for 5 years, at least 5 years.
So this gets it back to where it was? Or it removes it totally, so then it's just in the plan like any other park?
Right, it's not excluded
I'm
from.
asking Craig.
What do you?
Yeah, so right now our the resolution says we can't do anything without approval of a bunch of people, and not we.
Right.
The city can't do anything without significant approvals. So the resolution we'd be seeking would be to allow the city to make their decisions as they see fit, rather than needing to go through kind of a more arduous approval process. Which I think shouldn't actually be terribly controversial if people think about it too much, because no other residents get to have this like extra level of control over what happens at the public parks. However, it is almost certainly going to face backlash from the people who live there who think that it will be ruining their park, which it won't. But
And it won't have a timeline like the past one? It will just kind of remove the resolution?
no, this new resolution would be open-ended, would be my goal at least. I mean, that could be amended by the alders when they actually vote on it. That's their call. But I think what the Tree Advisory Committee should be seeking is just a removal of restrictions, not a timed further restriction or anything of that sort. Because Anna can speak to this a little bit better, but basically, I mean, there's necessary work that has been done in violation of the past resolution, because the past resolution didn't allow for even the necessity stuff that needed to be done. Obviously, the residents didn't mind the clearing of dead trees or things like that, but those are not allowed under this previous resolution. So it's kind of a weird oddity that just needs to be addressed.
Yeah, no, you're right, Craig. And so we had some hazard trees we were trying to take down in there. And because of this resolution, it was a huge deal. And we probably talked about it. We knew they needed to be taken down. The resident whose property was adjoining these trees to be removed really wanted us to do it. But because of this resolution, 2 other neighbors held it up for almost a year. And meanwhile, we're praying these trees didn't fall down on the shed or whatever. It wasn't like a catastrophic situation, but that just showed like, and we had to go out there and map out how exactly we were going to go in and do this work and what was going to happen. And it just like, and it was to take down 7 trees that were dead and dying and falling into the neighbor's property. So, yeah, it's gotten, yeah. So it definitely needs to be. But because
I think maybe what would be helpful for an actual action plan out of this is I'm willing to talk to my alders and see about getting one of them to support. But if somebody else would be willing to volunteer, I'd be happy to talk kind of in more detail about what I think the explanation needs to be, so that we have kind of a proper description of the problem going to these alders, so that it's not a confusion. But I think having somebody else who's willing to.
That's my question.
yeah, that's
I mean, doesn't it make most sense to ask the alders who are on tree advisory and parks? Or is that not necessarily so?
I actually think it might make sense to ask anybody else, because I think the tree advisory and parks ones are the most likely to support us anyway.
And they
And an
have,
alder that starts off from a more us having to explain it, us kind of proving the point, we might get somebody as an advocate who otherwise wouldn't be, as opposed to starting with people who we might presuppose are in our court on this one.
Is this supposed to happen before the election? Because it could change, right? Our Maldonado and.
Yeah,
Maldonado is still, he's good.
yeah.
But he's
Is this
running
something-
for something, he's running,
Yeah, but
is he gonna stay on the council?
I think I I don't know if he would, but I would assume that his term is not up.
Okay.
So he might just do
So,
it for
and
another year.
He's running for Jimmy, what's his name's
Mhm.
seat, which will be in the fall, so, okay. And you, Del, too.
So Shannon, do you have any hesitation supporting this?
No.
Okay, great. Can we start with you? Okay, doesn't that, I mean, to me, that makes the most sense.
Yeah.
'Cause, and then, who is it? It's Herb is the one on,
Dave Herbst.
on Herbst,
On
on.
Herbst.
Well, and here's the
Right.
thing, I might see if Dave would be the one that kind of spearheads it, because when I'm not here anymore, I don't want it to
Right,
fall back and say, well, this is a previous alder and she's no longer here. I want to
Right.
make sure that,
okay,
you know,
Okay.
but yes, I'll talk to Dave.
okay.
We can talk about
I
this
always get his name
resolution.
mixed. Oh, no, 3 mistakes. Oh, that's okay. That would be great. And then who actually writes it? I know we've talked about different people. The alder doesn't write it. It's usually staff.
In the email with Julia, or not with Julia, with Valerie, she said that like once it's supported by the alders,
Mhm.
it would likely get assigned to staff, which would likely be Valerie,
Yeah.
to follow up. Like the alders would say, "This is what we're trying to do."
Oh, so it
Then
would
the
be
mayor would say,
Valerie.
"Okay, I'm going to assign X staff member to do this,"
All right.
and the staff member that would most likely be assigned is Valerie. But I don't know
Right.
that for sure.
So then I still am confused about what comes first. Do we ask Valerie to draft it first, and then we ask we can do them both at the same time, but does it make sense?
No,
to
she
ask-
said she needs somebody to tell her, like an official request for her to draft it. She can't just do it based on our asking. So that's where we need 2 of the alders to.
Okay.
But that's the updated, that's what we want said, right? The R1718, it's already,
That's the old one.
that's the old one.
Yeah, that's the old one. So we don't have a draft of what we want, but we could, I'm sure Craig could provide one if that's,
Yeah.
Yeah, I could.
Go ahead, Craig. What were you saying?
Well, so I thought maybe I should and would, and that's why I reached out to Valerie. She says I'll quote from her email. Under our current ordinances, resolutions do not originate in committees. Rather, they're referred to committees by the Common Council. Two alders can sponsor an item on the agenda and request assistance from staff to draft a resolution once 2 sponsors are identified. So basically, we get the 2 sponsors, and then those 2 sponsors and the mayor request staff work on the resolution. I'm not opposed to writing up here's what we're looking for, but I also think that she made it pretty clear that it wouldn't be me who should be writing it.
so can that, so if you and Dave agreed, or you and whoever, can it get on the April agenda for the council then? To request that?
Yeah.
Okay.
I can do that.
Oh, that would be wonderful.
I just want to make sure, I want to just get kind of the wording right, so
Yeah.
when I
Okay,
do put in for the resolution,
right,
that they kind of have an idea of what they're going
okay,
on,
all right.
But absolutely, I think, as far as writing the resolution, that has to come from staff and that has to be
Okay.
approved by Valerie.
But we
as
could
Craig
do
said.
some draft language to you would you
Well,
like?
Craig,
Well, how about I send an email that just explains, like, I can write up what our goals are
that would work.
in a way that I think doesn't step on the toes of the ordinance, but it says here's what we would like the ordinance to do.
Right,
And
yeah, that would be fantastic.
that's pretty straightforward to do. So I
That
will
would be
put that as
great.
a to do and get that to you in the next couple days.
Perfect.
All right, wonderful. And then if you
Thank you.
need if you want any one of us to also talk to somebody else, will you let me know?
I can call people. I'll talk to Dave and see
Right.
what he says and,
Thank you, Craig, so much, and thank you, Shannon.
yeah,
very,
and then
very much.
if
That's great.
Dave, which I don't see Dave not supporting it, I can talk to my alder for this district too, for 3.
Okay. Fantastic. Thank you very, very much.
Is Dave in the district that I don't remember which district McGaw is in? Is he the alder for that district?
God, no.
He's-
He's District 1,
Okay.
so he's kind of across the bridge.
But he's
I
in
think.
parks, and that's.
The alders I would expect to potentially resist are the ones that are specifically related to that park because
Oh.
it's their residents who will have the biggest complaints. So that's the only reason I asked that clarifying question. So thanks.
But
McGaw,
it's still a good plan.
yeah.
Because they're gonna go to the park.
That would be Gabrielle and
Oh.
Jetzer, I believe.
That's,
And Gabrielle was,
Yeah.
I think she's pretty level-headed when it comes to the
Oh,
stuff
yeah, I think
for,
so too.
you know.
But I think it'd be, I mean, I still think it's important that the alders on this committee.
Oh, absolutely. I think we need to do it. I
Yeah,
just
for sure.
want to be aware of where
I can talk
where
to
the negatives will come from.
And just let her know what we're doing, so she's not
Yeah.
surprised by it when it comes up.
Yeah.
So,
It'd
yeah.
probably be
I'll
better
do
that you talk to her,
Sure.
you know,
Okay.
because the Robert's rules and all that good stuff
Okay,
can be.
yeah, okay, then
Over,
I'll talk to
like,
Gabrielle
you know,
about
I can get somebody to get behind me, but, you
Right.
know,
it. Or Jeff, or whichever one.
yeah, whatever. But you guys can talk to whoever you want.
Right, okay.
oh, yeah,
All right.
okay.
Great, okay, great plan, that's a really good plan. Thank you all.
Mm-hmm.
All right,
Yes, thank you.
okay,
Moving on to report from,
yep. Report from department,
okay, so a written report. I will also just highlight that I have been doing a lot of work on an Inflation Reduction Act grant. So I've got a lot of really good feedback from a couple of different departments that, like for example, the H&I folks in the planning department will be working with them, and with Public Works and other departments. So I think we'll have a really strong proposal. I think we have a pretty. We'll see, but I'm trying to get that nailed down, and it could be a really significant move forward for our Park and Forestry department. So look out for that. Hopefully in April. And in terms of announcements, if we're ready to move on to announcements, I want to mention that the waterway cleanups are taking place on April 6th from 9 to 11. There's information on the city website. If you're interested in doing waterway cleanup, join an existing group, or you can bring a group if you'd like. And the city supplies gloves and bags and things of that nature for waterway cleanup.
what is the date again? April
6.
6th, okay.
You said waterway?
Mm-hmm.
Which,
Yep,
which waterway?
waterway. They're throughout the city. So, and if there's one that you want to do that's not listed, Public Works will help you get that set up.
Because you can do one like that's in your neighborhood, you know.
Yeah, if you're interested.
Yeah, they should be in some of the neighborhood parks, and then you just kind of go in your neighborhood, and it's generally like you pick up the stuff that's in
Ditch.
the ditch. Thank you. You know, that's pretty much.
Does it include retention?
And then the city picks.
I would think, retention
Is it?
ponds as well?
What was that?
Does that include retention ponds? The garbage?
Yes, that's exactly what.
Yeah.
That's exactly what it is. It's the retention ponds primarily.
And both, I know like that, off the bike path that goes, I can never describe things. Yeah, anyway, it includes retention ponds as well.
Yes. And then on April 13th, from 8 to 11 is the shred event. So if you have information that you want shredded, there will be free shredding at. And then our next 11th.
Okay. Anything else?
Yeah, when it came to the council on Tuesday.
What did she say?
The common council
I
meeting,
wanted to thank you on Tuesday.
What?
you're breaking up quite a bit, your phone is, so,
Sorry, I just thank you to the people who came to council on Tuesday.
yes. Thank you, Jim.
Oh, sure.
That was very exciting, yes. Give a word to the mayor for her leadership and everything that was expressed. It was great.
You guys did a good job.
Yeah, I'm so proud of our city. That's awesome, so, all right. I think we're finished.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second that.
All right, all approve, say aye.
Aye.
All right, meeting's ending.
Bye. Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye, thank you.
Thank you.